Welcome, guys. I hope everyone's having a great day. We just launched the Ken Patel Experience, and this is the episode number two. And I have a special guest, Ketan Pema. He's the founder of Definitive 8. Welcome, Ketan.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Or good
Good,
afternoon.
good. So we're going to be discussing today the issue at hand, and it's a very big issue. There's a lot of concern and even from the CEO of JPMorgan, Jamie Dimon, he has brought this up to light. And I'm going to play a quick video so you guys understand what I'm actually talking about here and what the issue at hand with cyber attacks and why we have a special guest that is very innovative in the cybersecurity space.
Another concern that I've seen mentioned out there is the risk of retaliatory cyber attacks, banks being a potential target there. How concerned are you about that? I know that's something that you mentioned in your letter about a year ago.
I think the most important thing is that we keep the Western world free and safe for democracy. And people like this have gotten away literally with murder for 50 years. So that's far more important. But as a corollary to that, you got to expect there'll be cyber attacks or terrorist attacks either here or around the world. Banks may be targets, so may plenty of other people. And we always try to be prepared for that. We never try to predict when, why, where. We spend a lot of money protecting ourselves for cyber. We think it's part of our job. But I've always said I would consider that one of the highest risks banks bear. Not just the cycle, cyber.
So I guess Jamie Dimon is talking about cyber attacks throughout every industry. But we're primarily going to focus today on today's show is going to be the hospitality industry. There's an abundance of reasons why we're actually going to go into this, speak about this, provide you insights, provide you avenues to make sure you don't fall into the trap of getting attacked and getting hacked, just like most recently the Wynn Resort that we'll go into as well. But Caitlin, I think the audience will like to know your background and, how did you get into the cybersecurity world and how many years of experience and what do you bring to the table for other hoteliers?
Yeah, no. So again, thanks for everybody for taking your day out from a busy day. This is important, and especially the crazy, crazy world we live in with the wars going on in the Middle East, and especially as the world continues to change into digital. So my career started in IT back 35 years ago. Kind of been through the ranks of work for corporate America, went through the basic process of working for corporations, and I've been in business myself for about the last 20 years, where it started out doing a lot. Started out with telecom, and definitely the world's changed since then, and started doing a lot of work in the hospitality industry. So we've kind of been doing work in the hospitality for about 20, 25 years, technology variations of it. And about 8 years ago, we realized that as the world changed, the time had to change, and integration became a piece of everything. As more customers needed more experience, better experience, technology started coming in, revenue, there was a cost about revenue and things like that. So technology became a big part of it. And fast forwarding here in 2026, we have become so integrated in our lives that we have, smart locks now. People in even the front desk, for example, look how that's changed, right? We have kiosks now. We have mobile key-ins now, and it's just a 365 digital, online, aggressive, and there's just a lot of technology in the background that's happening. So we started out with doing a lot of compliance work, a lot of the IT work, and just really started realizing that hospitality has changed so much that we've become very, very integrated in doing this. And as the world changes, we all need to change. And part of all that. So we've kind of come specialty in the hospitality industry from being in the 25 years and really looking at it as and there's from an operation standpoint and technology operations. So we've kind of got the background to do both, and then how do you keep the lights on and keep moving forward, right?
Thank you, Caden. Thank you. It is very crucial and important to speak about this topic because we have to look at the industry of hospitality. We operate a lot on tech. Tech is really the go-to for the industry. Everything involves tech, whether it's your departments, whether it's your operations, whether it's your back office, whether you're an operator, whether you're a GM, you're housekeeping, front desk, all of these things. And that's not only we're not only collecting guest data, we're also collecting employee data.
Hmm.
And all these things involve cybersecurity in some way, somehow. And I believe the industry itself, the brands themselves, we're not there. Just as we're not there with AI, we're not there with crypto. We are a slow moving process. We only do things when it happens instead of being proactive and doing things before they happen. So the first piece that I really want to get into is um, what do we think is next for cybersecurity and the emerging threats that we need to look at for 2026? Um, as we know, hospitality is an ever growing digital footprint, as I just mentioned beforehand. So this is where we're just known to get attacked. We're known to have these things. The smart locks, the mobile keys, occupancy sensors are all part of this mainstay in hotels, guest facing, and operations systems. And when we look at these threats, these are the top threats for hotels in 26: AI powered phishing, deepfakes, IoT exploits, and smart rooms, third party vendor devices. And how can a hotel stay ahead in 2026 of these issues? And I'll turn it over to you, Kate, and then you tell me that what do you find out of those issues? Are we known to have more issues than that? I think there's only top three right there, but what are the other issues that we're known to have there? And what do you think is probably the biggest issue we're going to face in 2026?
Oh, great questions. Number one, as the world gets faster and
Mhm.
faster, and we're becoming so reliant on data. So, just to take a step back, why hospitality is a such uh, a, a game thing for these hackers? Because number one, just look at all the information that's there. There's payments going through it, personal credit cards going through it, passport, travel, bookings happening. So there, that's just like a gold mine for them. Number one. Number two, technology is moving so fast with it, and we're trying. Every business has to do more with less, so we automate. And then when we automate, we got AI doing it. You talked about now AI phishing. Before we used to have phishing, and they used to write emails, and there was bad grammar, and we used to catch emails from it. Now they're using AI to write emails to the help desk folks to say, "Hey, here's how we're getting through it." So there's all those kind of things.
So,
So one problem.
yeah. So,
Go
Kate,
ahead.
I just want to chime in. So, I think for our audience that doesn't know what phishing means, what is phishing?
Phishing is a very simple thing. These bad actors are going to pretend to be employees of your company, to be vendors of your company, and they
Hmm.
literally are just calling on a phone call, or they're going to the desk, or they're running an email saying, "Hey, I'm so and so. Will you let me in?" And they're just trying to fish versus trying to catch something and just trying to see what door they can get it open with. It's as simple as that. And now with AI, they just multiplying it and making it quicker. It's simple as that.
So when we talk about phishing, do let's say I'm a front desk agent, I get an email, I open that email, and can that email be a source of phishing? And once they open the email, now the data is being collected from the system.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if it's a not a, they've got a lot of hidden. Again, I'm going to oversimplify this, but these back actors will send you an email, expect you to open it, and you think it's some kind of a file that came, from some employee, and you open it up, and in the background, as you open it, they are putting all their malware and ransomware and everything that they need to get into the data, and it's all happening in the background, and you don't even know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the Win, for example, they have, if you don't patch, they find weaknesses in the software, they find weaknesses in the network, and that's how they get through it. And then they'll just sit there and monitor it for months and months. And now they're sitting and looking at it, and then that's how they get through it. And then you don't even realize it if you're not monitoring it. And it's just a simple, such a human, like, they're taking advantage of human kindness. That's what they.
Right.
And that's part of the big problem too.
So when we say about these issues, these threats that we have now, one of the things I would bring up is we're talking about threats, we're talking about issues, we're talking about just hackers finding a way. And always remember, the hacker is smarter than you. They are smarter than you because of the fact that they found a way to have you do something that you shouldn't be doing. Now, the only way to resolve that is to make sure you're fully secure. And that's why we have Kathan here in his company, Defendivate. And, they have over 200 technical teams that can help you monitor your hotel 24/7. And you need that. You need to have that. And it's doesn't cost you thousands of dollars, but what it will do is will save you millions of dollars. And one of the biggest items that we talk about is the 4% regulatory compliance fee. If you are not fully secured, that's the government hitting you with that fee. And that 4% is of your global revenue. That means if you made $10 million, you're getting hit 4% on your $10 million. Now imagine that 4%, what it's costing you compared to having a cybersecurity company fully secure your hotel and where you can sleep at night and be at a restaurant where you're eating a peaceful meal. And that is why I dabbled myself into this industry, being cybersecurity, because I saw the issues. The current issue is 84% of hotels, 82 to 84% of hotels were hacked and attacked last year alone, 2025. So this data is not just coming from Cloud9. It's real data, and there's a lot more data than this. It's an average breach is about $4.1 million. And this is where we go into the next piece, and I already put this piece up before, but I'm going to play it again to give you a reminder what Jamie Dimon is telling us right now. And what he's telling us is not something that he just is thinking. He is saying it's here already.
Another concern that I've seen mentioned out there is the risk of retaliatory cyber attacks, banks being a potential target there. How concerned are you about that? I know that's something that you mentioned in your letter about a year ago.
I think the most important thing is that we keep the Western world free and safe of democracy.
So I just want to let people know, Jamie Dimon said this a year ago, okay? What he's saying right now is telling you that it's already here because he brought it up a year ago.
And people like this have gotten away literally with murder for 50 years. So that's far more important. But as a corollary to that, you got to expect there'll be cyber attacks or terrorist attacks either here or around the world. Banks may be targets, so may plenty of other people, and we always try to be prepared for that. We never try to predict when, why, where. We spend a lot of money protecting ourselves for cyber. We think it's part of our job. But I've always said I would consider that one of the highest.
Being a potential target there.
And if you realize, Jamie Dimon said the exact same thing I just said a few minutes ago. He said we're spending millions of dollars to protect ourselves. And that what he means is JP Morgan, to protect JP Morgan. So you would need to spend hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000 to protect your hotel. And if you don't protect your hotel, what's going to happen is what he's exactly saying is going to happen is you're going to lose millions of dollars. You don't need to spend millions of dollars to protect your asset unless you have many assets. But Jamie is right on point to exactly what he's saying is happening right now. We saw it with CrowdStrike, that I'm sure all of you couldn't fly or stay at a hotel or pay for anything because that was a cyber attack that happened, regardless of whatever you hear. So I wanted to get into the next piece here, and we just kind of dove into what Jamie was saying here is the overall risk to the U.S. in the middle of this war that we're seeing is it's going to cause a lot of issues, including cyber attack. We're going to see more and more and more. A lot of it has happened in healthcare. A lot of it has happened in finance. A lot of it has happened in hospitality. And, one of the things I would probably say is when we're looking at the war that we're facing right now, a lot of the threats that we get previously were brushed under the rug and weren't talked about. We didn't see it. We didn't hear about it. But we're going to see things on a larger scale. And I will turn it over to you, Caitlin, because in cybersecurity, a lot of the compliance, especially public companies, within minutes, they have to announce that they've been hacked. Is that correct?
Yes.
And yeah.
Well, let me just take a slight back and go back to, there was a lot said, so I just want to make sure we don't miss the important part here.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, and this is a 21st century problem we have. It doesn't matter hospitalities or any kind of business. It's a matter of when you're going to get hacked, not if, when. That's number one. That's a given fact. You are going to get hacked. That's it. If anybody is having the head in the sand and saying it doesn't happen to me, you better wake up. I'm telling you right now. I'm not trying to put a fear of God in them. I'm just trying to be as a leader. It starts at the IT level. It starts at the boardroom level. It starts at the C level, and it starts at the management level to say, hey guys, what are you guys going to do? Because it's going to get hacked. That's number one. Number two, you cannot be bulletproof everything. I mean, you got to live, wrap a bubble around this thing. It's going to be expensive, time consuming, and you can't do it. And by the time you get done doing it, they just found another way to get, technology is going to change. So the best way to do is to prepare for it is number one. And two ways we go about doing it is number one, how do you minimize it? How do you protect the door? How do you lock the door and keep all the bad actors out? That's the first philosophy. And then you have all these technology, you have all these integrations, and then we jump into it. And number one, at the end of the goal is to keep them out. Number one. Number two, when you get hacked, there are so many compliance issues. So number one, is it an IT downtime or did you just get hacked? And time sensitive is so. Time is your essence. When either you got a downtime or you got hacked, and time is your best friend. So the more you prepare to say and get coordinated, and you have these things prepared, and again, testing your downtime, incident time, prepping, this happens, that happens. It's not going to be done overnight. You're never going to get it 100%. But if you get it 80, 90%, chances are you're going to keep compliance. You're not going to get fined. Your cost of operations are going to be down. Your costing, like especially in hotels, right? So that's number one. Jamie talks about banking and other industries and infrastructure and everything. With the war going on, that's one thing. The other thing, what's starting to happen, especially now with cyber attacks, before you got missiles blowing and all that kind of stuff, but the bad actors want to choke your business, economically choke you. That's why this industry is such a big attraction to these guys, because the minute they choke you, choke your bookings off, they choke your revenues off, they choke your employee data, right? They choke that's the goal. At the end of the day, they just want to choke you. And then they're going to choke you down for like 3-4 days, pay the ransom, and there it is. But the damage is done, guys. They're already in the door. Everything is done. And what's happening, and we'll talk about this here in a minute, of repetition. You know, that I used to always joke around, there's no honor among thieves, because what they're doing is one actor's going in, they go into another actor and they say, okay, hey, go to this casino, and do the same thing, and they just bribe them, right? I mean, that's like how they make their money. So these are the actors. So number one, let's keep them out, you know, tighten up, do all this stuff. We can talk about it. And secondly is, when they are in, what are you going to do to respond? And on the compliance side, and you know, you have all your HIPAA compliance, PCI compliance, and all that. So you have your industry compliance, number one, just protecting personal information. In the Win example, they got all the social security numbers, your salary, all that. I mean, think about all that information that's out there, right? Personal HR information. From a revenue stream, imagine if they get into your platform, which is a third-party vendor booking that they get into. All of a sudden, if they hack your vendor system, which, you know, they yet as another link to into your database, and if they get into it, and that's what these guys are finding ways to get into it, be it a third-party vendor, be it your HR software that doesn't have a link, and then they're going to keep attacking it, because number one, it's so much financial information. Think about all the personal information, financial, credit cards, and all that. So that's number one big industry. Number two, what these guys are doing today, and then this is the last 3 years. If you look at all the hacks and the trend, what they're doing is, since hospitality is a 24/7 industry, whenever third shift, second shift, they are attacking at that point to find entry, because there's not much, everybody's more relaxed. There's not so many eyes on it, and that's what they're doing. So when they get hacked into it, they are hacking or activating to a night audit that's going to say, here's an email, for example, and you know, he clicks it without, and you know, the other thing that what they're preying on in the hospitality industry, we're always so nice people. Everybody wants to say yes, and we want to please them. So a guest comes in, a vendor comes in, and saying, hey, I need access to your data closet, for example. We're just going to let them in, right? We're not going to ask them questions or anything. It's like, hey, it looks legit, has a name tag or whatever, but there's no two-part requirement. So again, it becomes a people problem kind of thing. So
Right.
a lot of these things, what they're preying on is, I mean, look at all the casinos, right? They've got all deep pockets to protect them, but why do they still consistently getting hacked? And this is on repetition, because they've got.
Well, that's a great point, and that takes us to our next segment.
There you go.
When you talk about casinos and what just recently happened that we thought wouldn't happen again, but it seemingly happens again, and it seemingly happens again over and over. So most recently, and I mean most recently, as of literally last week, the Wynn Resort confirmed data breach after hackers removed it from a leaked site. Okay. And this time, it wasn't the guest data. It wasn't the guest data. It was the employee data. Okay. Now you think about this. Now your employees don't feel safe working for you any longer, because they are afraid that their social security number will be stolen off the internet. Well, unfortunately, their social security number just got stolen from their workplace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Keith, I will let you dive into this even further and detailed on how did this happen? What happened here? And how could this happen?
You know, number one, I sleep at night and keep wondering is how can we make a difference? Well, number one, as an industry, we're just like we said, we're just so good people, and they're taking advantage of our good personality. That's number one. Number two, as an industry, we're so far behind on the technology side of it, so they're preying on that weakness. If you look at banking industry, you look at infrastructure, They put dollars in it. They put infrastructure behind it. They have eyes and ears on it. As an industry, the brands will, for example, they have a point of sale system. They'll send you the brand, and they're good at the point of sale system. They got it locked down, and they're great. If you're a property management company, now think of all the other devices that you have. In a typical hotel industry, you have three, if it's a branded small branded hotel, you have a little over 300 devices. Not a lot of people know that, or at least they're not paying attention to it. And we need to start paying attention to it. So it's not that we it's just that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, kind of thing, right? So that's number one. Number two, there even it was so funny. Even Wynn's Resort, they went back to the investors and said, we're going to get hacked. That's number one. At the C-level, board level, we need to start answering, guys, we're going to get hacked. What we're going to do about it? That's step one. Recognizing the problem. That's step one. Step two, and especially with AI and everything that is going on that we're starting to do and integrate and become more with less. Guys, technology is here. It's going to stay here. It's just going to get worse. I mean, it's just simple. AI, we just talked about phishing. Phishing is just getting faster with AI and then things like, first it was bad grammar, but now how are you going to catch it? With AI, if somebody is phishing an email, sending it to you on the second or third shift, it seems legit. It really seems legit. It's hard to tell, right? Yep. And if it's hard to tell and you just clicked on it, they're in. That's how Wynn got in. Wynn knew they got hacked in 2024, and they even knew it, and they went to the SEC and one of the forms that they filled out, and they told them that we're going to get hacked again, guys, and they did. Actors know this because of the weaknesses of it, right? And again, technology, they have deep pockets, and they put it in the tools, but they don't put it in the training. They don't put it in the people.
And I think that's well said. I think it's a very complex situation, right? It's very complex in how it's done, what's done. They've already planned it out. So the only way it's almost like this. How do we avoid getting hacked on our phones? We have some form of security.
Right.
So, and we have that form of security because we cannot lose anything on our phone. So if you're in your hotel, why leave things unsecured?
Simple, right?
There should be no reason. And I for our audience, I put up Definitive 8's website up here. It doesn't hurt to look. I think to go there, educate yourself, reach out to Keithan and his team, and ask them any questions at all. It's not like they just started doing this today. They've been doing it for many years. I've been getting educated. I've learned a lot myself. So that's why I'm bringing this at the forefront to an industry that's going to need it. If it's not now, it's tomorrow. So if it's not tomorrow, then it is tomorrow because it's happening now. And you just witnessed it. That's the Wynn Hotel. Okay. When we look at the next piece here, and I would tell you that it's hotels every day this is happening to. When you look at a number and you say 84%, you're talking about 84% of hotels. That's an astounding number. I mean, to me, it's kind of ridiculous because if we're talking 84% of hotels in the United States, what is the market share from the top 5 hotel brands? It's got to be nearly 80%. So because of that market share of 80%, that means are the brands not doing enough or are they only securing what they own? The answer is they're only securing what they own. So what's not secured is your local network, your Wi-Fi, your IoT devices, all those things, your smart door locks. They're from different vendors. So the vendors are not securing it because they're only selling it to you. So you have to get with the cybersecurity firm like Definitive 8 and have them secure your hotel, because the chances you're getting hacked is 84%. That's the number. And so my next piece here is the Washington Hotel in Japan. They're the ones who got hacked, okay? And when we're looking at this, this is February 13, 2026, okay? And it's Washington Hotel is a chain in Japan, experienced a ransom attack that resulted in compromise of various business data and temporary disruption of operations across multiple properties. Okay. Now, this, they're saying across multiple properties. So one attack got to a lot of hotels. That's also like if you're a hospitality group, you're a hospitality brand, you're an operator, you're a management company, it only takes one attack to get through all your hotels because they're all interconnected some way. They found a way that these all belong to you, and they were able to get to it. Now, Caden, tell us more about what happened with this in Japan. And I mean, out of all the places, I mean, I would think, we got great IT people in China and Japan, but it still happens.
Well, we got IT people in casinos, and it's still happening in 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same actor going after 3-4 people. It's quite interesting how the world's changed. With Washington, think about this: 30 locations. It's not too big. It's not your mom and pop. Independent. 30 hotels, and what the bad actors wanted was 5 million records. Think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
5 million records that people, and this is only customer data, is what they were going after. And they just needed one in. So again, social engineering. We don't know the facts yet, but I'm just going to guess of what happened. Either some bad actor went in.
Can you explain to everyone about what a ransomware is?
Yeah, ransomware is they get into your network. It's supposed to be confidential and private data. And what they literally do is they will call you and say, hey, we're going to publish all this information that's supposed to be private. We're going to put it in a dark web somewhere where everybody can access to it. And you've got 24 hours to pay us $1.5 million in Bitcoins, is how they're getting a little bit more sophisticated. For Wynn's example, in Wynn, that's how they happened.
So, Nathan, but the thing is, why do they want Bitcoin? Why not cash in a bank or a check? Well, not probably a check. They don't want a check.
Right.
So why not cash?
Because Bitcoin in itself is untraceable. It's all, again, electronic. It comes.
That's exactly what I wanted you to tell the audience. They want untraceable asset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It goes back to being compliant. Again, we have HIPAA, PCI in our example. It is compliance. We've got it locked down. We can see it coming and going, right? We have control. On a Bitcoin, they sign it within 30 seconds, guys. It's gone. They can disappear. And this happened in Japan. You can be in Korea. You can be in Russia. You can be all over the world, and you're done. There's nothing. You can trace them if they're in another country, and chances are the bad actors are in not friendly to the U.S. is what I would say, right? And they want to just bring U.S. down, and then that's what's starting to happen here. But again, it's quick and dirty money. They hold it ransom, they pay it, they got their money, and they go. Done. That's the ransom.
It is, and it happens in such. I call it the New York minute, right?
Right.
It just happens in New York minute where it's in and out. That's it.
Right. And we're so ingrained to just say, okay, well, I got a damage, I've paid it, and it'll go away. Well,
yep.
That again, that's burying your head in the sand. Yep. Well, same thing. I mean, look at Wynn, for example, right? I mean, even and we'll come back to Washington and what they did right and what they did wrong, kind of thing. Wynn paid the ransom, in hope and a prayer that it wouldn't get published. Well, this thing got happened back in September of 2025, got the ransom now, and they paid it and they went away. Well, guess what? There's already 2 lawsuits filed from the employees. It's a class action lawsuit. Think about that for a second. There's other employees that's going to come in here and say it's going to cost them. So they paid $1.5 million. It's going to cost them more.
It is. It's going to,
next 3 to 5
it's
years.
obviously, it's the aftermath, right? The aftermath is always the issue. It's not when you get attacked, it's what happens after. Lawsuits, compliance issues, regulatory fees, loss of revenue,
It's an
hinder the aspect of your reputation.
It's a given fact that if once you get hit, within 6 months, if you're a small company and you don't have the funds and everything, you're out of business in 6 months.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and
perfect.
And even going back to Washington and what they did right. And here's what I liked about this thing. They were monitoring it they were monitoring the network. And this happened. They happened to catch a guy at 10 a.m. They saw some inactivity and they just shut it down. They already got in. They were ready to hack, so that they hacked the system, but they didn't ask for the ransom to see what it is. They just shut it down, isolated everything. They went for the next 2-3 days, just went manual, doing the payment system. So at least they were up and running. Revenue was coming down. Nobody knew about it. It wasn't in public, right? And they got a task force. They found out everything was done. They did backups and got them back restored to what it was. So they didn't have to pay the ransom. So whatever the damage was done. So this is how they were prepared. They were prepared very well. This is how it's a good practice to go. This is a good story. I like the story. This is a good story because they were able to catch it. They were down. They were down for 3-4 days. They lost some money, yes. But, now even the other thing is, with insurance companies and all that, that's a whole nother, segment to talk about. But insurance companies are getting better data now. So even insurances are coming down. So part of, MGM, for example, they had insurance and they paid $100 million. They lost $100 million in 10 days. But guess what? They lost zero. Insurance paid out.
Yeah.
Right. So there's other ways.
I mean, it all makes sense. I mean, even the data's there, right? Like it is. This is from Black Swan Cybersecurity. 82% of North American hotels experienced a successful cyber attack. And it's not the year of 2024. This is the summer of 2024. And
peak season.
I mean, this is you're talking about 3 months. 84% of hotels were attacked in 3 months in 2024, and that number climbed up. So it was 3 months, and that number climbed up even more in 2025. So don't expect the number to go down in 26, because now we're in a situation of we've got Iran right on our doorstep. And they're going to be looking, as Jamie Dimon says, they're going to be looking to attack the financial system. Hotels are part of the financial system. And that is why you need to get secured. If you are not going to get secured, you're not only going to lose a few $1,000s, you're going to lose. So I'm sad to say this, but you might even lose your hotel. That's how bad it is. I mean, you don't have the money like Wynn does. Does your hotel have $1.5 million to pay ransom? No, because the fact is that $1.5 million is coming out of your bottom line, and you're going to go into a deficit. And how are you going to recover from it? All you had to do was pay $65 a device and get it secured, and you would have been happy. And you would have woke up that morning saying, yeah, they tried, but they couldn't. And even if they could, they weren't able to get what they want because you're secured. Your 24/7 monitoring is there. And that's what Definitive actually is an expert within the hospitality industry, that they do that. And I've been educated on a lot of different things, and I've taken that information in, and try to deliver it to the industry because we don't talk about it enough.
No, we need to talk.
So I kind of want to, I'm probably going to end it on that note as well. And if Keithan, if you can let people know how to find you, I obviously have your website up here. And if you can talk about a little bit about your company and what you guys do and which industries you play into.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm so Definivate is my son and I. We run it. We've got operations here in the U.S. and our whole team in India that can do it. So it's more 24/7, 7 days a week kind of thing. And I tell everybody that we don't take Christmas or Diwali off. We got to work. It's
Yeah.
That's number one. And then number two, it has to be comprehensive, guys. It can't just be tools. It just can't be software and saying it's not going to happen. So number one, to say it's not going to happen to me, your head's buried. Wake up. Number two, it has to be from top down, from an investor, C-level group to your lowest guy on the third shift. It has to be. You've got to get all your employees involved. Number three, it doesn't cost that much. Just think about this number. Think of your annual revenue and divide it by 2,080 hours that you are in business for. I mean, you're 24/7, but a typical 8 to 5. And whatever that number comes down to, if you go down, that's what it's costing you per hour. Think about that, right? So that's a formula. With, like we saying, $65 on a device, it's going to cost you, and it's going to, yes, it is a cost, but it's almost buying an insurance policy to make sure it doesn't happen. So it's controlled, it's human controlled, you're in compliance, you are going to be down, but you're minimizing how to get it done. So prepare how to minimize to be down. My website.
And I want to ask you about the one piece that I really like is the hotels get a free assessment, right?
Yeah. Forgot about that.
And I mean, it doesn't cost them anything to know that security wise, where they currently are and what potentially could happen, right?
Correct. This website, Definivate/hospitality, we have a special division for it. Go ahead and just fill out your information on it, just your name and email address. We'll reach out to you. One of our sales guys will reach out to you guys, and we'll just sit down and take a quick 30-minute talk. Cost you nothing. We'll run through your whole operation. We'll talk about, are you guys doing this? There's compliance and detection and response and all those kind of things. And then we'll just come out and, we'll just talk and just kind of at least give you a quick gap analysis of where your biggest weakness is. You don't have to take it all at once, but what your biggest weakness is, tackle that first. At least now you've got a high probability of not getting hacked.
Yeah, and the thing I want to mention is if you guys mentioned the Ken Patel experience, when you do fill out that form, you're going to get 10% off whatever your billing is going to be. So I would take advantage of it. I'm not just saying it for you guys to do it. I'm telling you for the benefit and the sake of your hotel. It's very crucial.
Part of what a lot of people say, well, we've got MSPs, we've got IT companies doing it, we've got Marriott IT, and we're good. Here's what I would tell them. Marriott brand is going to protect themselves, and who's watching your back? That's number one. So they'll lock it out, they'll keep you out. But when all of a sudden you're down and you're in an incident response, who are you going to call then? You got compliance.
Yeah, I mean, that's Marriott doesn't secure the Wi-Fi network.
No, they don't.
So, and we'll leave it at that point because I think it's totally acceptable at this point to our audience to understand that this is a need. It's not a want, it's a need. So I will catch you guys same time next week, and we hope to give you further education on this same topic with different insights that will help your hotels, that will help your businesses. Have a great weekend and look forward to seeing everybody next week.
One question, really, just to leave in, even I'm on LinkedIn, guys. go on my LinkedIn, Keaton Pema. There's my calendar's on there. If you really want to make it a little private, just make an appointment with me, and that's the best way to get a hold of me too. If you really need something right away, I'm available.
Yeah, and feel free to ask questions because I think the education isn't there in the industry, and Keaton's obviously an expert. So that's
Okay.
why I wanted him to come on the show and deliver the insights that I think everybody needs to hear.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Keaton.
Thanks.
Have a great
everybody.
day.